All right, you guys. So let's talk about some more. Guess what? Throat Chakra Alchemy, right? So one of the main things you got to understand about Throat Chakra Alchemy. So we know that it controls internal sound, external sound. It's a center of authenticity, and we can spell cast from it. But guess what, really? You can contact the afterlife through your throat chakra if you are respectful and if you know how to do it. So how do we actually dive into this? Well, it's super easy. Haven't you ever thought about, like, I'll give you an example with my mom. My mom passed away a couple years ago, my mentor. And she, every once in a while, just pops into my head. I naturally can talk to the dead because I'm a psychic medium. Obviously, I can do a lot of different psychic abilities. But my friends have also noticed that whenever they need her help, she tends to be in their dreams. She tends to show them angel numbers around when they're asking a certain question. Something happens. There's some level of communication between the afterlife and this life, right? And the next thing you really need to understand is that the afterlife is actually just a parallel life. Your energy disappears from here and starts existing on a different parallel plane. No energy is ever lost. It's only transmuted or changed, okay? So whenever someone passes away, you can literally talk to them if you first of all understand the properties of the throat chakra, and then you also know, remember in spellcasting you were told that if you know what you're speaking and you speak it with a firm grip, you're gonna manifest it, regardless of if it's positive or negative. If you want to talk to the afterlife or have them communicate with you, it's just as simple as saying you want to talk to them and that you know they can hear you right now. All right. The same thing will happen with your guides. You can communicate with your guides, but a lot of the times you're doubting whether or not your guides are going to make themselves available, or you're going to be able to talk to them, okay? Or how you're going to interpret them in general. The first step is whenever I need to talk to my mom, I instantly just talk to her like as though I'm sending her a voice text over my iPhone, or I'm texting her in general, and I'll say what I want to say out loud or in my head or both, okay? Because you're still spell casting so that you can summon the dead, okay? So then I would just be like, Mom, like I'm dealing with this one thing and I don't know how to like take care of it. What would you do? Can you just give me like some sort of advice, please, so I can know what I should be paying attention to? The moment I do that, I leave it alone. I put that out there. I know she got my text message or my voice message, and she'll respond to me whenever she has a chance. Even though time and space is an illusion, technically she should be answering me right now. I'm not going to be like that because we're all still existing in our own lives in parallel universes. So the dead are still doing their own thing. They still are adventuring. They're having a totally separate life than the one that we're having here. And how annoying is it if someone keeps pinging you, and you don't have a second to respond because you're dealing with something else? That's the first major lesson you have to learn about the dead. If you're going to connect with the afterlife in general, you cannot force anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. You cannot continuously pester them because the afterlife channel will cut itself off to you. All right. And you need to be open with how you interpret the communication. You need to be authentic with the communication by letting it organically flow in your direction. Okay. So here we're starting to understand all these different, we knew that our internal voice makes us feel something when we say something, right? So our internal voice is also part of the communication with the dead. Our external voice can be a communication with the dead. Sometimes you'll be out and about, and this happens to me very often. I'll be out and about, and then I'll contact my mom, what should I do? And then someone comes out of nowhere and verbatim says something to me out of nowhere that only my mom would ever say to me. Whether it's a certain nickname or a certain phrase or the whole entire message came from my mom. It's up to you to be open with the communication. So I'll hear someone deliver a message and I'm like, thank you, I really needed to hear that. because I did, because I asked for it. Duh. And my mom just delivered it through someone else without them even realizing that they did it. Okay? Maybe that happens and it's half of the message that I was looking for. And then later I'm driving around and all I'm seeing is 888s, 999s, 444s. And they're all saying, abundance is coming, you're evolving, everything's okay. That's communication from another source. Like, I'm gonna pay attention to that because that's part of the message. Maybe the message is coming continuously in a bunch of different ways. So then we have those two first versions of it, and then all of a sudden I'm flipping through my radio and I'm flipping and I'm flipping and I'm flipping, and every other channel they say Axel. One channel will be like Axel, 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 son, and it'll be something like really weird. It almost takes your breath away like that, and you pause and you're like, There are no such thing as coincidences. Everything is synchronicity, meaning you're constantly communicating with something, whether it's the cosmos, the object of your communication with something in the afterlife, or a guide. Or if you want to look at it, you're communicating with yourself perpetually, because reality is a freaking mirror. So when you open your mind and you let yourself interpret that, maybe you go to sleep and then you dream that you're hanging out with your mom. A lot of times people tell me that before they even meet me, that they knew what I looked like, they knew what my office looked like, they knew what my voice sounded like, because they met me several nights ago or weeks ago in a dream and we hung out. I have a ton of people who I went to my ayahuasca trip. I hung out with a girl in early February 2019 in astral space. I woke up and I was like, I wonder why I was hanging out with her. She seemed like she really needed some help, and I gave her some advice. Fast forward like 7 months later, or 5 or 6 months later, I end up going to ayahuasca retreat in June, and she's sitting right across the room from me in the powwow. And I was like, oh. And then she remembered me and we had a conversation about it. And I was able to tell her things. I was like, hey, did we have a conversation about you wanting to be a writer and you weren't sure how to do it? And she's like, yeah. And she pulled out a notebook with all of the things that she writes. She writes 24/7. Obviously, I was having a conversation with her. It wasn't just a dream. All of your dreams count for something, even though you may not consciously always remember your dreams. So that's why some dreams feel like, you went to sleep, you experienced a second life, and when you woke up, it was like one really long day. Because time and space is an illusion, so you don't stop existing just because you go to sleep. You actually just put this body on a charger like you would your phone, and then poof, you go ahead and you start existing somewhere else temporarily. This is just an avatar. When you really understand those concepts, you then can allow yourself to communicate with your guides and with the afterlife much easier, okay? So taking a deep breath. If you don't take a deep breath when you start these videos, because I do, because I'm channeling right now and I'm delivering what I feel today you need to understand. That's why when I tell you to take a deep breath, we're going to take a deep breath, because it allows me to connect with the energy of everyone who's watching right now, and I can continuously channel. This is like a community effort. I like to channel for the community when the community needs it, okay? So deep breath. The next thing you need to understand is that sometimes when you contact your guides or you contact the afterlife, your own ego is going to get in the way of it. And the only way your ego is going to get in the way is if you do not let your imagination be fluid. A lot of times we're like, we know. Okay, I'm going to contact the afterlife. Well, all right, I'm waiting for the afterlife to come to me because I know it has a gate, a white gate, and it's all fluffy and clouds, and there's angels everywhere, and it's very serene. Have you been to the afterlife? Yeah, you have. You crossed, but do you remember what it actually looks like? Or are you just going off of what you think it should look like based off of someone else's tale of what the afterlife should look like? That's one of the biggest things I deal with my students on the regular, is like they have their own perceived notion of what things should look like, but they don't even remember ever visiting these places, nor do they have a karmic registry, because I can read that, of them ever going to this place. So that right there, your anticipation and your certainty of, you know, you're supposed to be diving into the unknown, but you think you know exactly what's going to happen, that creates a block. And that's probably why, if you've tried doing channeling and contacting your guides and doing things like that, you haven't been able to, because you're not being fluid. You're not letting your mind just be a receiver and process what's coming to you. These are all techniques to contact your guides and the afterlife. And if you really start changing your lifestyle, because Ascension is a lifestyle. Ascension is not this thing that you go after, like you do yoga every Friday, I'm gonna do Ascension every Friday. Like, that's not how it works. If you want to be an alchemist, you're not an alchemist only when you're healing. You're an alchemist when you're living your life 24/7. That's what New Earth is all about. Changing the vibration of the existence in which we've known reality to be forever, right? The other thing is, some people come and they ask, well, if we're manifesting and we're doing these certain things, how do we delete evil? Or how do we delete, like, if I have something, am I taking it away from somebody else? Energy is infinite, so you can never take anything from anyone. Plus, energy is constantly shifting, so it never goes anywhere, it just changes hands. That's why when people talk about manifesting with money, you need to understand that money is water, money is energy. So if you grab energy, and you know the properties of energy are to continuously change their format, and you try to hoard it, and I'm gonna keep you, that's where you stall your manifestation. But if you understand, okay, this energy is going to come in the form of, this energy is going to transmute itself into the form of money. All of a sudden, I have that money. I'm going to use the energy exchange of this money to produce a new energy exchange, and then that's going to flow out. And you can continuously have that kind of understanding with your flow. That's how you're going to be able to understand how other worlds work, because you are just a receiver, or you're just a channel when it comes to working with different vibrations of energy. Some energy you channel and you funnel through your body. Some energy you don't. Some energy is intelligent, other energies are not, okay? It's a plethora of options as you continue to ascend and learn your own abilities and learn what it is that you really came here to do and where you're going in general, right? So the biggest part of it is practice, 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 understanding that it is a lifestyle. If you want to expand your abilities ridiculously, that's what I'm here for. If you've been following any of these series, imagine taking a full course with me or doing a one-on-one with me, because that's gonna, like, I can speed you up in as little as 12 weeks with activating all of your psychic abilities, changing your world. I have over 10,000 students online, and it's constantly growing. So if you really are looking to ascend, always understand that ascension is you. Even though the ascended masters are walking with you today, in person and in astral, you yourself are an ascended creature. You just forgot about it. And the biggest step of it is understanding that you're not a human, that you're a star person, and that magic is an element of the universe. And when you start using it as part of your daily lifestyle, and the multitude, there's, like I said, a plethora of different ways, crystals, programming, prayer, there's a bunch of different ways you can use energy to start learning how to do alchemy. This is Ascended Master Antojai sending you so much love. I will see you in our next Throat Chakra episode.